A brilliant white light emanated from Mr. X's eyes as shadows from the dream void swirled around the room, crawling along the walls of Commander Reed's prison. The commander stood on a nearby observation deck while the ritual was underway. The creatures held there were twisted and fierce, one looking more alien than the next. Even the humans appeared to be monstrously different from what one would expect. One by one, prisoners would be lifted by the shadows and held in the air while the darkness enveloped their bodies, snapping away their life energy. Hundreds were taken up as Mr. X glared upon them with his arms outreached, a bizarre hum resonating through the entire prison. As the life drained from the last of the 1,000 souls, a white crack formed just in front of Reed's perch, which fractured continuously, growing larger and smaller with unsettling volatile motions. The commander knew what he had to do as Mr. X turned to stare at him silently. With hesitation, Reed stepped into the portal and immediately lost his footing, sending his body tumbling into the vast emptiness of the dream void. There was no direction, just endless, blinding, featureless white everywhere. Being no stranger to the desolation of deep space, he began to calm himself, preparing himself for whatever was coming next. He floated there for days in a constant state of meditation. He eventually learned that in the dream void he could create whatever reality he wanted, so he conjured images of the old Black Neptune crew, changing himself back to his human form and successfully completing the Mars mission. Commander Reed felt himself losing his old corrupted mind and regaining his humanity as he proudly landed his ship. Seeing the smiling faces of his comrades, Carlson and Isaac, the two men approached him to congratulate him on a job well done, patting him on the shoulders. His newly remembered heart sank as their faces melted away into pure darkness. Their hands began to fuse into him, and he struggled to escape, but to no avail. Each man thrust their faces into Reed's chest, and they slowly turned into a black, tar-like liquid, absorbing into his body with searing pain. Reed felt the familiar sting of a dark influence slowly taking over his mind, twisting his body to its evil will. Back in the prison, Mr. X watched the portal as liquid shadow began to spill out, drowning out the light. The long armored fingers of the villain reached out, followed by a dark leather hood with glowing red eyes peering from beneath it. Necronic had risen again. Commander Reed was no more. Necronic looked upon his servant, Mr. X, for a moment, without a single word, before vanishing into a cloud of black smoke. Mr. X's eyes began to lose their glow, and he quickly realized that he had been deceived by the Nameless One, who was in truth the shadow of Necronic himself. As his powers faded, he began to suffocate in the vacuum of space. He dove towards the closing portal to the dream void and hurled himself into it.
Eden and Unit 522 teleported back to the planet Junta. Upon their arrival on the planet, Eden's people stood mesmerized by the transformation of the young warrior. They gave praise to the return of Eden, as she assured her people that she would use her new power to protect Junta from the remaining armies of Commander Reed, which numbered in the millions. Eden also discovered that her ascended form gave her the power of clairvoyance. If she concentrated, she could see a person's true intentions. She made her way to the palace where her brother Lazarus and High Priestess Valeria awaited her. She was greeted with open arms by her brother, but Eden remained silent as she gazed upon him. At that moment was when she realized the truth, that it was Lazarus who had given Commander Reed the coordinates to Junta. He had betrayed his people. Eden drew her sword, and with one swift stroke she severed Lazarus's right arm. Lazarus screamed in unbearable pain and writhed upon the floor before the two warriors. Valeria frantically questioned Eden's actions, but Eden responded by pointing her katana at Lazarus and demanded that he confess his betrayal. Through sobs and tears, Lazarus confessed that he was promised great power by Commander Reed if he were to assist him in obtaining complete control over the universe. He told Commander Reed of the rich resources of planet Junta that would be a valuable asset to his armies. He also told him of Eden's quest to seek out the Emerald of Light. Once he overheard the location of the emerald, he reported it directly to Commander Reed. Eden was disgusted by her own brother and claimed that he was a fool to trust in the power-hungry commander and that he would have been killed along with the genocide that Reed would bring to Junta. Lazarus begged for forgiveness, but Eden's katana made its way through his throat and he died by choking on his own blood. As she lifted her sword from her dead brother's throat, she told Valeria that she had to prepare the warriors of Junta for battle as the enemy forces were entering their star sector, and it wouldn't be long before they made their way to the planet. While the execution of the traitor was taking place, 522 stood silently on a cliff staring at the horizon. He could sense that a portal to the dream void was opened, and a new evil far more malicious than Commander Reed had entered the universe. The battle for Junta would bring great loss to the planet.